This next cojones goes to a man who's dear to my heart for standing up for stand-up. When dozens of Netflix employees walked out over Dave Chappelle's reckless decision to perform comedy on his comedy special. CEO Ted Sarandos could have pulled the special and replaced it with more episodes of Who Wants to Watch Koreans Get Killed. But instead, he reminded his Netflix employees that comedy exists to push boundaries and told them if you'd find it hard to support our content breadth, Netflix may not be the best place for you. So, for making the phrase, "Don't let the door hit you in the never sound better," this is for you, Ted.
In today's climate, saying the wrong thing or even laughing at the wrong joke can get you roasted faster than a viral Twitter thread. And Bill Maher has been calling that out loud and clear. Whether you admire him or can't stand him, one thing's certain: he's built his career on exposing hypocrisy, especially the kind that hides behind hashtags and fake outrage. This time, his sights are set on the so-called moral gatekeepers, the Twitter mobs, the college activists who treat being offended like a personality trait, and Hollywood's self-anointed champions of virtue. That's where things start to get interesting. Maher decided he'd had enough of cancel culture's endless witch hunts, the non-stop moral grandstanding, and Tinseltown's hollow gestures of defiance. Instead of just ranting, he took a more creative route. He organized an award show. But this wasn't your usual Hollywood event where people get trophies for crying convincingly on camera or pretending to care about climate change under flashing lights. This one celebrated a different crowd, the rare few who dared to think for themselves, the ones who refused to cave, apologize, or delete their tweets just to fit in.
So that was the point of the evening. How do we take a stand against cancel culture? And I suggested, since we were mostly all in show business, that we start an award show to honor the brave people who have fought back. Well, I gotta tell you, the idea was met with great enthusiasm by everyone, and in short order, different people were suggesting the ways that their varied talents could be put to use. And then, of course, being Hollywood, nothing happened. But it's still a good idea, so I'm gonna do it right here, right now, and not only that, we're gonna do it every year.
That does sound extreme, doesn't it? But think about it for a moment. Isn't this exactly what's missing today? Genuine courage, real grit, the kind that earns respect, not just applause at a Vanity Fair after-party. Take J.K. Rowling, for instance. She sold millions of books, built a billion-dollar empire, inspired a generation to read, and sparked a worldwide cultural movement. Yet now, she's labeled public enemy #1 by the woke crowd. Why? Simply because she dared to suggest that being a woman might mean more than pronouns and makeup. It's shocking when you put it that way. The same fans who once cheered for Harry Potter turned on her, branding her a racist, calling for her erasure, and attempting to cancel her legacy. Today's torches have taken the form of think pieces and trending hashtags, but the feeling of a modern-day witch hunt? It's surprisingly familiar.
That what was on the mind of the liberals that night in Brentwood, or wherever we may have been, was that the most powerful witch hunters now were coming from Twitter, the Ivy League, and the progressive left. J.K. Rowling used to be a villain to the right because she wrote books about witchcraft. Now she's a villain to the left because she has the crazy belief that there's more to being a woman than pronouns and lipstick.
Rowling isn't alone in facing this. Take Elon Musk, once the darling of Silicon Valley, the visionary aiming to save the world with rockets and electric cars. The moment he voiced an idea outside the approved progressive narrative, suddenly he became the antagonist. Joe Rogan experienced the same shift. Once celebrated as the edgy, must-listen podcaster by progressives, he quickly became a target for supposedly spreading disinformation simply for asking questions they didn't like. Even Bill Maher, a liberal firebrand for decades, is now seen by many former supporters as too provocative. Do you see the pattern? It's all about allegiance. Follow the rules, and you're fine. Step out once, and you're cast aside. That's the true cruelty of cancel culture. It doesn't care about your intentions, your accomplishments, or the good you've done. It only seeks to erase you for a single misstep. Maher recognized this and decided it was time to honor those who do show courage. He even awarded Cornell University President Martha Pollack as part of this initiative. And look at college campuses today. They've essentially become adult daycare centers for anyone paying attention. Students demand trigger warnings before lectures, turning what should be a space for expanding minds into one where imagination itself feels too dangerous.
Our first award goes to the president of my alma mater, Cornell University, Martha Pollack. This month, students there demanded trigger warnings before all the lectures in case any of the adult subjects you specifically went to college to learn about came up. And Martha said, yeah, no, we're not doing that. She didn't cave in or hire a new dean of sensitivity. She just said, no, college is for introducing you to new ideas, not for kissing your and making you feel wonderful.
Think about that for a moment. Every year, students are shelling out $70,000 just to avoid discomfort. Yet Martha Pollack stood firm. She didn't give in to demands for trigger warnings or cushy accommodations. Her message was clear. College exists for learning, not for comfort or indulgence. There won't be a new dean of sensitivity, nor a sanctuary for every viewpoint someone finds unpleasant. And here's the kicker. Simply saying no in the face of these demands takes more courage than half the speeches we've seen in Hollywood over the past decade.
Lunch with your parents. I'm just amazed at how this generation can simultaneously be too sensitive for anything distasteful and somehow also so into eating.
Maher is right on the mark. If more universities embraced that kind of approach, we'd be shaping resilient leaders instead of fragile ideologues who crumble under pressure. Think about it. This generation prides itself on being outspoken, edgy, and free-spirited. They'll post the most absurd or provocative content on TikTok just to rack up likes. Yet, say something that strays from the accepted script and suddenly there's outrage, tears, and calls for cancellation. How does that even make sense? Take Trader Joe's as an example, and this one's almost comical. For years, they've sold quirky products with names like Trader Jose's beer without anyone raising an eyebrow. But then a single child tweeted, "Hey, that's racist," and boom, a petition followed. The crowd was ready, primed for the moment when Trader Joe's would supposedly cave, apologize profusely, and maybe even rebrand to something completely neutral like beverage.
Goes to the place where many Cornell grads will be working next year, Trader Joe's. Trader Joe's, who for years have been selling a line of ethnically themed products, trading on the name Joe. For example, they have Trader Jose's beer. So, of course, one teenager on Twitter heard the word Jose and said it was racist, and then there was a petition, and then Trader Joe's management did the right thing. They burnt down all their stores and killed themselves. No, they didn't. They said, "F off, you oversensitive little sh."
But Trader Joe's refused to play along. They boldly told the crowd, no, these labels aren't racist, and we're not changing them. Their decisions wouldn't bend to a petition that might never even materialize. And guess what? Nothing happened. Business went on as usual. Customers kept shopping, the brand stayed strong, and after about 48 hours of shouting and outrage, the crowd simply drifted away.
A sense of humor and released this statement. We disagree that any of these labels are racist, and we do not make decisions based on petitions. You see how easy it is? So to the home of the 19-cent banana, here, have some nuts.
The lesson is obvious. Cancel culture only wields power if you hand it over. Their outrage fades quickly once you stand firm because they've already found the next target to attack. Maher has been saying this all along. Stop apologizing, stop groveling, and don't let fake fury manipulate you. The crowd doesn't really want an apology. They crave obedience, and once you give it, they'll just ask for more. Maher has now moved beyond supermarkets and college campuses. His attention has turned to Hollywood, the very heart of virtue signaling. Remember the celebrities who promised they'd leave the country if Trump won? George Lopez, Eddie Griffin, Miley Cyrus. They all vowed to go. Trump stayed in office for 4 years. And guess what? They're still here. Still sipping champagne in Beverly Hills, still strutting down red carpets, still cashing their checks. Not a moving truck in sight.
There's a long list of liberal celebrities who swear they'll go if a Republican is elected, and no one ever does. Miley Cyrus once said, "I am moving if Trump is my president. I don't say things I don't mean." Here she is looking miserable, having to endure America at the Grammys last Sunday. I guess she flew back from Tajikistan.
Everything has become a performance, a show of clout, without saying a single meaningful word. Hollywood celebrities talk endlessly about morality, courage, and standing up for what's right. Yet the moment their careers or bank accounts are at risk, their convictions vanish. These aren't strong people. They're performers moving in the direction of the loudest applause. Maher offered the perfect example to drive this home: comedy. Comedy has always been about pushing boundaries, challenging norms, and making audiences uncomfortable. That's the point. It's meant to provoke thought, not to be safe or sanitized.
In 2016, Eddie Griffin said, "If Trump wins, I'm moving to Africa." Apparently very slowly, because in Trump's 4 years, he only got as far as Van Nuys. George Lopez once said that if Trump won, he won't have to worry about immigration. We'll all go back. George Lopez still here.
Rob Schneider, Joe Rogan, Kevin Hart, and Dave Chappelle, these entertainers faced backlash simply for daring to tell uncomfortable jokes. Yet comedy remains one of the few spaces where truth can still surface. Behind every offensive joke, there's often a kernel of reality that people are too scared to speak about openly.
This next cojones goes to a man who's dear to my heart for standing up for stand-up. When dozens of Netflix employees walked out over Dave Chappelle's reckless decision to perform comedy on his comedy special. CEO Ted Sarandos could have pulled the special and replaced it with more episodes of Who Wants to Watch Koreans Get Killed. But instead, he reminded his Netflix employees that comedy exists to push boundaries and told them if you'd find it hard to support our content breadth, Netflix may not be the best place for you. So, for making the phrase, "Don't let the door hit you in the never sound better,"
Ted Mayer even brought up Ben Stiller's role in the widely criticized film Tropic Thunder. What was Stiller's response? "I apologize, not at all," he said, proudly standing by it. That was it. And guess what? His career didn't skip a beat. He still lands advertisements, keeps working, and thrives. The outrage is only as intimidating as you allow it to be, and Stiller proved that staying firm keeps you just fine.
You know, when movie lovers get together these days, one phrase that comes up a lot and always makes me sad is, "Yeah, you couldn't make that one today." Top of that list is the great Tropic Thunder, which the scolds have been after for years. But in February, Ben Stiller tweeted, "I make no apologies for Tropic Thunder. It's always been a controversial movie since when we opened, proud of it and the work everyone did on it." See, people, it's not that hard. He said it, and he still got a commercial. And the lesson is, if you stand up to the mob for just a day or two, their shallow, impatient, immature, smartphone-driven, gerbil minds will forget about it and go on to the next nothing burger, and you still will.
And that's the central point Maher makes. Cancel culture is mostly smoke and mirrors, a brief, loud, chaotic storm that rages for a day or two. You'll be fine if you have the courage to stand your ground, but the moment you give in, compromise, or apologize for things that don't even require it, you lose. That's why Maher's critique of Hollywood wasn't a joke. It was a lesson. Stop inflating the influence of moral gatekeepers. Look at the examples. Martha Pollack standing firm on campus, Trader Joe's refusing to cave, Ben Stiller proudly owning his Tropic Thunder role. Resistance works. Courage is rewarded. What we need now are people willing to stop bowing and start standing. Here's the reality. There's no real danger in disobedience. It's essential. Comedy thrives on it, free thought depends on it, and our sanity benefits from it. So, what do you think? Is Maher right that we hold cancel culture's power in our own hands, or do you believe the mob can truly destroy careers? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this analysis, hit like, subscribe, and share it with anyone who still thinks selling a Trader Joe's product is offensive. Because the one thing cancel culture can't stand is people who aren't afraid.